Good morning, folks. October the 5th, Monday morning, and hopefully finding out today that the bike will be finished, and that'll put me back on the road tomorrow, heading towards Washington, D.C. So, for those of you that don't know, my name is Deacon Taylor, and I'm en route to Washington, D.C. for a Support the Stars and Stripes rally. We were invited and have become integrated into the program with our fellow patriots, the Sons of Liberty. And so I'm excited to go. But today I'd like to talk a little bit about safety. And so where this is coming from, over the weekend, I went out to Civil War reenactments and several other places. And one of the gentlemen that I came across teaches safety courses, and specifically around OSHA and confined space and things like that. And one of the statements that he made to me that really caught my attention, because I'm a pretty big advocate for workplace safety programs and personal protective gear and all of those things, especially when they come to workplaces. I think that we have a responsibility to make sure that folks go home in the same condition or better condition than they came to work in at the start of their shift. But that said, we've gone a little bit too far in some cases, and so he and I were discussing some of those exact examples, and I won't go into that because, frankly, that's really a nuanced kind of a discussion. But what I will talk about is safety for us out on the road, and this is where I probably have a little bit of a bias, and you'll figure that out very quickly, that I'm not shy about admitting that I have some personal bias when it comes to things. So when it comes to motorcycling, there is a concept called lane splitting or lane filtering, depending on if you're talking about in California or if you're talking about it from areas in different parts of the world. Now, what they have discovered recently, and what the research is starting to validate more and more, is that it is exponentially safer for the motorcyclists to be between the cars when they are going under a certain speed and when traffic is stopped. The reason why that is because cars don't always see cars that are stopped, and I am a good example of that. I had a Volkswagen Jetta a couple of years ago. All of the traffic was stopped. The guy behind me was not paying attention and hit me at about 55, 65 miles an hour and completely totaled the car. I mean, it shoved the rear bumper all the way under the car. So the crumple zone worked, and it saved me, and I have very little impact from that accident. Unlike my mom that got hit from the rear end because a guy was drunk or high, I can't remember which, maybe a little bit of both, and it hit her so hard from the back that when her neck snapped back and she hit the steering wheel coming forward, even though she had a seatbelt on, she ended up with all kinds of problems with her mental faculties. And so let's talk about safety, and let's talk about where things are going. My exposure to safety really came into place in about 1989, 1990. The rodeo circuit. And so a young man by the name of Lane Frost was killed in the arena by a bull. And the next year, all of the very concerned mothers and fathers were screaming about how we all needed to wear flak vests in the riding arenas. And so I understand. I'm a parent. I get it. I totally want my kids to be safe too. But I don't think the overreaction that we tend to have to things is the right solution. So this morning I'm watching the news, and a football player had two other individuals hit him from either side, like this, and they sandwiched him, and it ruptured his liver and I believe his spleen. I may be getting that wrong. But the immediate reaction is, now that we've gotten helmet technology getting so much better, and we've been really focusing on rules that keep the kids from hitting their heads too hard, now all of a sudden we're going to come out with these really high-end, very expensive types of shirts to protect their livers and their spleens. So here's my question. At what point do we all just wrap ourselves in bubble wrap and pretend like the world isn't a scary and dangerous place? And the reason why I say it that way is because of this. Mortality happens. People die. That is part of our existence. We can't stop it. It's impossible. I have seen wrecks where somebody has gone down or a car has been hit and it looks like there is nothing wrong. The vehicle looks like it's in pretty good shape and very little impacts and very soft types of collisions, and yet something happens and the person breaks their neck and dies. I've seen it where somebody snapped their head back because they got rear-ended on a bike and they died because they were wearing the helmet, because the weight of the helmet made their head snap back. So all of these rules, all of these infringements on a person's right to choose what's best for them are coming from somewhere. And they're coming from well-intentioned ideas, but they aren't always thought out. So I have a great story of a seatbelt where one of our family friends was riding in a car and the seatbelt saved their life, but they probably weren't necessarily better off in the long run. And on and on and on. So my point is this. Just because the actuaries and the people in the insurance company tell us something is going to save money doesn't mean that it's necessarily in the best interest of us. And at the end of the day, I really wrestle with this idea of who the hell has the right to tell me that I need to protect myself against myself. And helmets and safety gear and seat belts and all of this stuff really is somebody else telling me that I have to protect myself against myself. And so I really struggle with that because I understand that people are trying to protect me. But at the end of the day, I also fully understand that we don't get a choice how long we're on this planet. We don't have a choice in that timeline. Those are things that we have absolutely little control over. And so, yes, it's probably a good idea to wear safety gear because more often than not, it is going to save you rather than hurt you. But that should be my choice. That shouldn't be somebody else mandating it through laws and regulations that I have to do that. Just like I've seen a bunch of people getting very excited about this new law that it's no longer legal for a parent to smoke, or an adult, anyone over 18, to smoke in a vehicle with children that are under 18. Very logical. Very, very logical. I get it. But how are you going to enforce that? Just like all of these cell phone and text messaging laws, how are you going to enforce those? So without a legitimate plan of how you're going to enforce a law, we're creating laws and then having to figure out what to do with them once they come into play. So here's my final statement on all of this. We need to be much more thoughtful about how we enact legislation and what that legislation is intending to do and how we are going to use that legislation in order to fulfill its intentions. So things that seem fairly unenforceable probably need to have a very deep look at what the intent is and how we're going to accomplish that goal. And I'm not anti-safety, so please, if you're getting that message here, then you're missing the bigger point, or I'm not communicating it well enough for you. But at the end of the day, I don't think that we fully understand all of the parameters that go into some of the decisions that we're making. And so helmet laws, I really hate helmet laws because I'll be honest with you, I've been in I don't know how many crashes and a lot of them without a helmet, and I'm still pretty okay. And I know people that have been in crashes with helmets and they are gone. So I used to always tell everybody that I would rather be a dead organ donor than a living vegetable, because that's what my experience was with helmets. The people that lived from those accidents, the really nasty ones, were in so much pain or had so many other problems that they didn't necessarily want to live anyway. And I'm not saying that's right. I'm not saying that's wrong. I'm saying that's what my perspective has been. I currently wear a helmet because I got tired of fighting between state to state. Which state did I have to wear it and which state did I not have to wear it? I really don't wear it because I give a crap about my brain being in a bucket. I just, as the old saying in the biker world goes, the difference between a helmet and not a helmet is, do you want to have an open casket? And that may be a little bit grotesque for somebody to think about, but it's reality. So we need to really think about where we're going with all of these laws and all of these restrictions and all of these things that frankly are taking away our liberties to be adults in the name of safety. And I'm not saying we don't need to be safe. So again, don't take that message. What you need to understand, I'm saying, is we need to be more thoughtful about our reactions to things, because instant reactions are generally emotional reactions. And emotional reactions are not very logical. And they have long-term impacts that we haven't been thinking about as we institute these types of laws and regulations. And as far as lane drifting or lane splitting, or I forget the European term, sorry, my brain's not working at this point. We need to start really having deeper conversations about what's in the best interest of the public and not just what upsets you, because I've seen a lot of car drivers get really upset in California and they actually impede the riders. And as I posted a video earlier today from California, it's illegal to impede the rider. So just because you don't like it doesn't mean that it's illegal. And just because you do something that is illegal doesn't make you a better person. So we all need to learn how to exist on this planet together. We all need to talk more about what's really going on and listen to what the other person is saying, not just assume what they're saying, and on and on. So with that, I will see everyone in Washington, D.C. Even if my bike's not ready until tomorrow, I will be there bright and early, rocking and rolling, ready to go. I'm going to try to make Pennsylvania and Philadelphia on my way out there on the day before. I think it's the 8th. We were planning on me being at the Liberty Bell. So I'm hoping to make the 8th. It's not that far from here. I can probably do it in a 24-hour stretch if I have to. But you will definitely see me in D.C. come hell or high water. So with that, hope you guys have a great Monday and look forward to seeing more of you out on the road. Talk to you soon. Ciao.